So we've gone ahead and we've selected the sell products template to really show you the anatomy of the sections within the email. So let's break this down. We've got our header, we've got our body, and then we've got our footer. So this is the template builder, and that's always how it works, is the header, body, and then footer. Underneath, you'll notice this coloring, and that is the page. So it's the overall page, like the background. So you can customize the colors, you can customize the text, you can adjust the logo, you can adjust the body, and tweak it to your liking and tweak it to your brand. So you'll have the different options here: regular text, boxed text, dividers. I like dividers because you can add spacing, and I like white space in emails. So if you can add spacing between your sections with dividers, that's useful. Keep in mind, you also have these click and drag options with default spacers in between. So that gives you the option to customize the layout. It's really straightforward. Here's another one. Again, you can adjust the spacing between your sections, so that could be really helpful. You can add an image. You can add an image group. I like the gallery option if you have maybe a list of products you're trying to sell. You want a nice gallery version, then that would be a fantastic approach. You can also do an image card with a caption that can, describe a little bit more details. So it'd be helpful. You can do a side caption as well. Social share. So this is really useful, especially if you want somebody to share a particular part of your product. Maybe you want to get somebody to share this shoe. Well, you can have a link, um, connecting to that. So that's really helpful. And the other approach is to, adjust your call to action button so that you've got your web address, something specific that you want them to land on, and have it open in a new window, which I typically like to do. I don't want people to leave the page. I want them to stay on, but then have a new tab open up so that they can always come back to the original email and click other areas, because I want to maximize sales conversions. So always ensure you've got the open and new window, just because you want to have that. Maybe you just have one single call to action and you don't want them to go backwards, then you would leave that blank. Like maybe you really just want them to click one thing, then that would be fine. Title attribute is useful because then it describes what the item is. For instance, if the email goes into an inbox and maybe the images don't show up, the title attribute would be handy because then that will show. So that covers the button area. You can also change the coloring of the button. Remember, changing the coloring could be really useful, and it could help with the psychology of your conversions. Orange is highly converting. Blue is a good one. I've seen red work as well. Those would be the key ones. Or you can customize it to your brand. Maybe you have a brand color, and you can use the color based on your brand. And you've got, spacing options. You can really customize the look and feel of your button, which is useful. And then when you're done editing, you can hit save and close. Another option is social follow. And by default, it was already in the footer, but you can also add it in other parts of the page. Is maybe, you want to have it further up, or maybe have different links depending on what section you're tailoring this to. but you can add several services. You can add email. Got LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, Google+, Tumblr, Instagram, Snapchat. The list continues to grow. They continue to add more and more, which is fantastic. And then you can hit the style and adjust the coloring. And having social icons is just another way to boost your following in other areas. It's a no-brainer to have it in there. Just make sure it's not over the top. You have different layout options. I'm not sure why somebody would want to do that one, but it is an option. I prefer the horizontal layout just because it looks fantastic on mobile. It looks fantastic on desktop. You can go with larger icons as well, but let's keep it subtle. I personally like the smaller icons because it's not over the top. You can do solid or outlined depending on your style and your brand. So you've got options there. You can continue to add more buttons, maybe a shop for this product and have the link to that actual product with the button. You can have a footer with contact info, additional code. If you're into coding, you can add your HTML code and then drag and drop a video in there, which is something that would really help with engagement, is having a video. These are all the details in the footer by default. And what you'll find is the copyright. You've got all rights reserved, page archives, list description, mailing address. And you can also update your preferences or unsubscribe from this list. So there's a lot here, right? And I personally like to cut most of this down so that I'm not bombarding my customer with information here. So I typically, if I'm starting out, I am just cutting it right down to the wire. There are certain things you need. For instance, this HTML list address, you're going to need that. You're going to need HTML rewards. And there you go. So that just simplifies it right away. And the reason why you want to do that is because you don't really need the other information unless you're big into telling everyone that you want copyright, but and you're maybe more into the legalities of it, then you can maybe leave those merge fields. But if you really want to clean this up, simple design and not so filled with content that maybe isn't as critical, then this is one way to really clean things up. You hit save, and that just automatically makes this look better. You can hit design and adjust page elements, header elements, body elements, footer elements. You can adjust monkey rewards, which is the badge that shows at the bottom. So HTML rewards, that's where the MailChimp badge is. So you can actually change that as well, depending on your desired look and feel. But the way that the design editing is very similar to how we showed you in the buttons. So you can adjust headers, spacing. You got header 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're familiar with any word processing platform, the headers are just essentially these items here in the different fonts. So you can adjust the fonts, right? Georgia likely falls under this header here, the Georgia font. So you can change the font so that it's maybe different. Helvetica, there you go. You notice that it changed to Helvetica italic. Don't really like italics, so I'm going to remove that. It straightens things up. So you can kind of see the change in impact. You can adjust the fonts related to your branding, and I highly recommend that you do that and not use the default template. You're going to need to tweak this. If you want to get more sales, you need to tweak this so it's on point with the rest of your branding. It's not time to get fancy. Uh, but try to keep it clean. Use the white space. I can't tell you how many emails I've seen where I'm looking at it like there's way too much content on here, not enough white space, and I'm pulling my hair out because I don't know what it is you want me to do. There's no clear call to action. I've seen creative professionals even who get bogged down with too much information that they're trying to share and not enough of a sort of a purpose behind the email. If you're sending an email out, it should be with purpose. So that's what you need to keep in mind when you're designing these sections. Another cool area is to get feedback on the campaign. So when you're starting to send it out, you send it to collaborators in the test email, and then you can find out where the improvements can be made before you get to your list. Another area to check out is the preview mode to ensure that your email looks fine on mobile and desktop. And this is a fantastic feature. You can also look at inbox previews. You can do live merge tag info. And essentially, if you have merge tags in the body, this is where the live merge tags will show up. And the inbox previews is great because what happens is then you can look at how other browsers, maybe like Gmail compared to Outlook, you can see how it all looks. Of course, you'll need to upgrade in order to access that. But that in itself is really important, is the preview mode. What you'll also want to do is actually send the test email. And a really good rule of thumb is to send it, check it on a desktop, but then also check it on your phone so that you can see how it really looks. You'll want to do that because even the preview mode doesn't show you everything the way it's intended to. So sending a test email is important because you can really get down to the point of ensuring that the email is properly laid out. Do a push to mobile, and you can also open the link checker to make sure that all your links are appropriately set up and they're not broken. So you wouldn't want broken links. Those are just a few of the options that you've got there. And once you're ready to go, you can hit save and continue. And that is the template for your email list. And hopefully that helps you out with just the overall layout and how to handle the builder for your next email campaign.